Hello, one and all. It's weekly manga recap time with your friends Nick and Quinn, here to talk about the manga stuff, the ending ones, the beginning ones, and all those in between. It's the 12th of April of 2023. I have not celebrated a birthday since the last time we were on, since technically it was before that, but all of the things that happened where people were like, come be with us while you celebrate your revolution around the sun once again. And I've been eating so well several days, and now my stomach's like, you need to stop this.
Think of how proud your ancestors are, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're like, you're not hungry. In fact, you're eating well like a king. Congratulations.
Yes. And it's like, yeah, but unlike those kings, we don't want to kill them and take all their stuff. You're cool because
a good king.
A good king. Yeah. Those exist, right?
Yeah, that'll be the name of your autobiography, A Good King.
The Good King.
You'll have recently won the King of the Ring tournament, so you'll be doing like a little crown on top of your head.
Even if anything happens where I would be called a king, I will refuse to have anything in this biography that explains where the title "The Good King" comes from. Like if they aren't aware of this one specific episode of this podcast that I did with my very good friend for like 12 years, if they don't check out the very specific one where we make reference to this, they're not going to understand where the fuck did this come from. They'll think it came from the time I won King of the Ring, but they'll be wrong.
Yeah, you're like, no, I didn't. That's kayfabe, bitch. What are you talking about?
This is real life.
Yeah, only the real ones listen to episode 749 or whatever we're on a weekly manga recap for our references.
Probably more than that.
I'm almost certain. I feel like it was several years ago we hit episode 500. But I don't count. I mean, I guess, hold on. I have Podbean. I can tell exactly how many episodes we have. Well, right? 624? That seems low.
That does seem low. Like, if we've been doing this once a week for, excepting like days there's no manga and occasionally we need a break, for the amount of time that we've been doing it, there should be well over that, right?
I mean, this is what.
No, I guess it makes it. No, what am I talking about? If we do it like 50 times a year and we've been doing it for 11 years, then I guess that makes sense.
It balances out. I think there's also like 1 or 2 episodes that are lost to time or something like that.
I can't do math right now. I'm tired.
Hey, you know what? This is a non-math zone until we get to Cipher Academy. We need to put.
And then we gotta do math.
We're gonna have to pull you into the ringer on that one. But for now, we just get to talk about space and stuff.
Yeah, guys, we're gonna just talk about our weekly series today. So there's no not a lot of our off week stuff this week, and also no recommendation, and also no My Hero, but it's the last chapter of Ginka Glüna, and also the first chapter of a new series.
With beginnings and endings.
Yep, with fewer boobs than you might expect, given who made it. But
there's still time for chapter 2.
Still time for chapter 2. So yeah, I think that we'll get started with Undead Unluck, why don't we?
Yeah, Undead Unluck, this is number 154, Select. And we get a nice, beautiful color page with Fuko and all the new members she's recruited, and they all have their little uniforms, and it is a wonderful touch that all of the Union uniforms have like a red stripe going down the middle to symbolize the tie. So like even in space,
they're dapper.
Yeah, their fit's on point. I love it. So we start sort of in what we don't find out until a little bit later, but a recording essentially of a space station that has been performing some kind of experiment, and now things are going awry, and we see that there's like a hole in the space station. Everything's getting sucked out. They're like, hey, what's going on? And we are getting the report basically that 3 days ago, the station that was built by a certain country in secret ceased communications. Gonna keep that country under wraps. And they're like, yep. And this is like the hacked footage showing the station was attacked and not likely by humans. And we see, in particular, a young Phil. I guess he's always been young, but this is Phil, and some other person who is protecting him, holding him, and is like, oh, we'll be safe in here. And the person theorizes either UMA or an alien, and like there's banging like coming through the top of the ceiling, and then the feed cuts out. So Fuko's just says, we will go by rocket and we will save Phil. And they're like, wait, to save him? Like, aren't rockets like extremely dangerous? Is this worth the risk? And Fuko's like, look, Phil's only 6 years old. Right now he's likely with his mom in the station shelter waiting for help. And this is most likely when his ability will manifest. The ability to negate feelings and sensations, unfeel. And, Fuko gives a little bit more clarification of details about Phil that I believe we did know about this. But I guess...
I'll take your word for it. Every time that you make a big deal, this is true. You've been pretty consistent about this whole thing. And Phil, and literally every time this happened, it's like, well, I'm glad that Quinn has reminded me of Phil's existence because I don't remember a damn thing about him.
Fuko explains that Phil has basically used that ability to cover himself in different artifacts because it didn't matter and he didn't speak and all these sorts of things. I do believe we knew that before, that Phil had like a bunch of artifacts inside him. We just didn't really know exactly why, so we're kind of getting a little bit of that context. And Fuko's just like, yeah, we're going to use our scientific prowess and negator abilities to get into the space station as quickly as possible. And immediately, Nico, I don't know why I'm blanking, is like, hold up. Why is that child in space?
It had to come up.
Yeah. And then Bao, who I forget exists, comes in and is just like, I will explain that. It is the New Feeling Project, an experiment that seems to study the effects of space on human adaptability. And this country has been secretly performing experiments, and they constructed the space station in secret. And within its walls, a child was born and raised there. And that child is Phil. And Nico's really pissed. He's like, fuck this. Science makes developments to protect people. So toying with the very lives they're trying to protect isn't science at all. And he has like a very stalwart face. He's like, we are going to save this kid. Count on it. So immediately Sean is like, so who's going to be going? And like everyone's kind of like piping in. They're like, yeah, I want to help. Bring me along. And Fuko's just like, hey, Nico, how many people could we take on a rocket? And it just fades to black as Nico says 3 people. And we cut over to the round table where Apocalypse is all angry. He's like, you can't use this. This isn't like a meeting spot for you fucks. There's no new missions yet. And Fuko's like, it's business. It works.
Yeah, we've got this massive stone table here with chairs and icons, and it's like it's clearly designed for gatherings and meetings. You can't use this as a meeting place. No,
get out of here.
This is where we lord over you the fact that you're going to die.
Yeah, you're supposed to tremble in fear here. I mean, you haven't been doing that a lot this loop, but Fuko says, no, it's important. We need to have 3 people here for a meeting. I want my opinion. We need an objective opinion, a negator's opinion, and then a mechanic's opinion on this mission and who would be the best people to bring along with it. So, Billy, you will be the objective opinion. I will be the negator opinion, and Nico will be the mechanic. So they're like, hey, we're going to need basically 3 people for this lineup. We're going to need a leader, a mechanic, and a striker. And all 3 of them basically put forward what their ideal lineups would be. So Fuko has Creed as the leader, Nico as the mechanic, and Void as the striker. Billy has Fuko as the leader, Nico as the mechanic, and then Creed as the striker, and then Nico has Fuko as the leader, Chico as the mechanic, and then Creed as the striker. And they're like, well, there's a lot of similarities between our lists.
It is interesting how all of them omit themselves from their lineup.
Yes.
so Nico's like, no, I shouldn't go as the mechanic. When it's like, obviously, you should go as the mechanic. And Fuko's like, I shouldn't be the leader. It's like, yes, you should be the leader.
You're the leader of this whole team. So they start to kind of like explain their thought processes, and essentially the reason for Creed is like, look, he would be really useful to have in space because we don't have to bring ammunition along. Really, he just needs like a bare minimum, and then he can handle everything else. But Nico also brings a good point where he's like, also he can make like the ship supplies not decrease.
Yes.
So that's really useful, and he would be more useful as a striker than a leader. Everyone's like, Nico, they're Fuko, that has to be you. You should be the leader. And Fuko does offer why she picked Void as a striker. It's basically just like, we wanted somebody with like restrainer abilities. I don't really know how Void's a restrainer other than he is going to punch you really hard. But I guess that is a restraint in a way, like knocking people out as opposed to shooting them full of bullets. They do note that that's why they're not picking Yusai, is she doesn't have a full grasp of her powers, so she could blow up the entire ship with her ability.
Yeah, someone might not be able to get out of the ship at some point if she's there. So
they do note that like they've covered like leader and is that what unavoidable does? Stop people from moving? I thought it made him not miss. I've been dumb and maybe misreading it. Anyway, they've covered those two. They're like, we need to think on the mechanic. And there's a funny scene where both of their eye lines clearly are going straight towards Nico, but because Apocalypse is in front of Fuko, the little line has to go above him. And Nico just notes, he's like, no, I definitely want to go. There's no way I'd miss this. This kid's life is on the line. This is all important. But Ichiko's just as smart as I am. She's learned astral projection. She's definitely the best person for this. The more competent person should go. I don't want to get anyone killed because of my own curiosity. I'll build the rocket. You get out there and save the kid. I'll get back to work. It's up to you.
And he has this moment where he's like, I've just had the final word in this conversation. He's had the smug grin. He walks off with one hand in the air. He's like, yeah, conversation over. I've said my piece. I'm getting my way.
And then immediately Fuko and Billy are like, that's decided. It's definitely you then. And he's like, what are you talking about?
No, I walked away with one hand in the air. That's me winning the conversation.
I ended the conversation. He's like, no, she's got the extra something over me. She's the best choice. And they're like, you have something extra too, though. Your desire to save Phil is stronger than anybody else. And that's why I feel like you should go. Let's save him from a tragedy born of science and negation together. And Billy's like, yeah, like I can hear your resolve more clearly than anybody else. It's definitely you. So there we go. We have our lineup for the space mission. Fuko will lead it. Creed will be the striker, and Nico will join as the mechanic. It is Operation Rescue Phil in the quickest way possible.
Yeah. I'm glad that we just kind of like banged this part out, honestly. I didn't have a whole lot invested in and here's who's going. It's just like, just tell me who's going. But there was a fun conversation along the way. And I also appreciate the very ominous way that we start things off with what the hell is going on with everything that's happening on the space station? Is there a xenomorph up there? What's going on? Yeah, I guess we'll find out what Phil's deal is so far as we have been getting to know people that we barely met in the first loop, or not the first loop, but the most recent loop better. It's been very interesting, and Phil is among those we know the least about.
The character I think we know the least about of everybody who's still left at this point.
Of those who are left, yes.
Yeah, we know basically everybody else's deal pretty clearly. I like Creed is going along too. It feels like a good way to get somebody new into the group, even though I don't know if we haven't really explored a lot of Void since the end of his story, but I am interested to see more Creed. Also, I hope he comes and says decrease 100 times in this arc. He's like, we gotta decrease the chance this kid'll die.
We have to decrease this chance's complete lack of emotions.
Yeah. Just getting really obtuse. Yeah, I thought this chapter was really good. A fun discussion of these characters. Everybody seemed to really vibe, and it was good stuff. That is true.
Yeah.
Workloin mentioned Unburn. We know next to nothing about Unburn. But I was thinking like union members, I guess. But yeah, he is probably the other character you're just like, what's your deal, buddy?
All right, guys, we're going to move on now to Chainsaw Man. Chapter 126, Food Fight! Last time, Denji showed up, chainsaw first, going after Falling Devil. But despite the fact that she's getting chopped up a lot, she just kind of like pulls herself back together, grabs her head whenever it gets knocked away from her, and then batters or slices up Denji. So it's not going great for him. Seems to not leave any permanent marks on her as it gets kicked into a wall. She picks up one of the apples that she dropped when, Denji attacked her for being an apple thief. And the Falling Devil says, look, we don't really need to fight. I'm not going to kill any more humans. I'm just going to kill Asamitaka.
I've done all that. We're good now.
And she says, yeah, once I've done that, I'll leave. But Denji says, wait, did you say you're going to drop Asamitaka into hell? Yeah. I've got a job to feed the residents of hell, and Asamitaka is the final course. And Denji's like, well, that doesn't really make sense. But this is great, because now I have an excuse to kill you. Keep your hands off my ex-potential girlfriend.
Oh, he has his way.
Yeah, I mean, he's not incorrect. So, yeah. He dashes towards her again with his chainsaws, but she boops him on the bottom of his nose. Boop!
Aw, adorable.
And says, all right, you're impeding my cooking. I must ask you to leave. Fall. And we just get a flash of human form Denji with his friends, his dead friends, behind him.
Specifically when he killed them. Or when he was responsible for their deaths.
Yeah. So, Gun Devil Aki and Busted Open in Power are flashing in his head, and he goes, Gah! And he starts.
I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like the entire chapter. And then like you turn a page, and Denji's like, let's go, bitch! And you're like, wow, Denji's gotten so strong. Like he was suffocated with grief, and he figured out a way around it. And then he explains, he's like, when I fight devils that use mental attacks, I just sliced my brain up.
Yeah, and he, in between attacking the Falling Devil and slicing her up, is just chopping into his own head to block the mental attack.
It's a strategy. It works. Like he solved it. This is the new meta, Nick. Everyone's got to start following this. Everyone's like, yeah, you got to do the chainsaw your brain strat, or otherwise you're just not going to be able to get past Falling Devil.
So what is Denji's mental state when he's literally chopped into his own brain? He wants to eat corn dogs from France. That's what he says. And while saying that, he starts to eat the Falling Devil's leg. And he's going, yummy! And the Falling Devil, while just, holding her head up in the air, just says, stop that! Stop it! I'm not a corn dog! Stop! And then she gets weirdly melodramatic again and says, perhaps you're right, though. A chef ought to experience being eaten at least once. But that doesn't last for very long. As it looks as though he gets part of the way through eating her, and then she just erupts out of his stomach. I think that's what happens. Due to the fact that we, can't be shown in full gratuity the act of a humanoid eating another humanoid.
There are laws sometimes of decency you have to maintain.
I think that she erupts out of his stomach and says, thank you for the 5-star experience, because she's a chef. And even while Denji continues trying to chainsaw her and is slicing through her face, she just flicks him away. And he's not doing good because his organs are connecting his legs to his chest at this point. And so he's slowed down as the Falling Devil says, I detest ugliness, and just floats off. So Denji is down, and he says, get back here. Wants to eat her.
He'd probably be doing better if he didn't chainsaw up his brain so bad.
Nah, what? No, it's the strat, Quinn, remember?
It's the meta. I'm sorry. Everybody's like, look, the Falling Devil has a couple counters to the chainsaw and your brain up thing. One of the big ones, of course, being she will explode out of your stomach when you try to eat her. But you got to stick to the strat.
But someone comes by and feeds Denji some of their blood. Who is it? Well, they've got sneakers. I know that much. And they just say, I still need you to fight Chainsaw Man.
I'm assuming Yoshida, that would be my immediate pick, but, we have mysteries afoot all over this series.
Yeah. Yoshida would be my first guess, but yeah, who knows? And the Falling Devil floats off and immediately comes across Asa, who says, "It found us!" And she says, "I found you." And yeah, it's not a good time for Asa and Yoru right now. I don't know how much longer this thing is going to last. It feels like suddenly the pace is quickened drastically. So we'll see how long it takes to come to a climax of this fight.
I imagine we'll have a little bit of some back and forth here. Denji, we know, is not out, but it feels like there's still a lot. I think the part of this chapter that I will really maintain is Denji slicing her up, going yummy as he eats her, and just the Falling Devil's like displeasure, because it's just like a closed face, like there's no eyes, it's just like closed with blood dripping down. Stop that! I'm not a corn dog. And you're like, it's one of those moments you wish you could like have on hand when somebody's like, "What's Chainsaw Man like?" And you're like, "Here, it's this." It's
Stop that! I am not a corn dog.
Yeah, great line.
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
While Denji is chopping up his own head, by the way, he's still continuing to buzzsaw his brains. So, all right. Yeah. Crazy chapter. Almost was a downer time, but then Denji chopped up his own brain. So thanks, buddy. Yeah. Okay, it's Akane-banashi. It's story 57. The Rakugo Swamp. That's where you go and you expect to just kind of have a good time, but honestly, it's just like there's a bunch of like weird roads that just aren't like fully designed to actually let you get in and out of the stadium and stuff. And there's also just a bunch of jerky students everywhere. So
yeah.
Sorry, I went to University of Florida. So
I was like, Nick's going on something here, but I'm just gonna let him grow. I'm gonna let him roll.
We called the stadium the Swamp.
Oh, because it taps for black mana.
Yes, that's it is a place of darkness and misery, all right.
Liliana goes there. Nick, Liliana also goes by the pseudonym Professor Onyx. That was when she was in hiding for a brief period of time before she came to grips with Gideon's death and his sacrifice for her sake. She learned to be a little less selfish. However, didn't change her color identity. She's still mono black. So,
when I think of a name that I want to use in order to make sure that I'm not drawing attention to myself while I'm undercover, I think Professor Onyx. No one will turn their head at that.
It's very amusing to me too, because when the card comes out, like it has the subtype Liliana because it's a Liliana Planeswalker, but it
right.
does, and you do like I know the kids at the school don't get to see the cards, but you do. They're like, why does this card say Liliana when this is clearly Professor Onyx?
Listen, I understand that Professor Onyx is a Liliana Planeswalker, but.
It's one of those curious. It's one of those, AI designed cards. It just adds random subtypes to things that aren't.
Okay. Oh my gosh, everyone is excited about Hikaru and how she's gonna be making her Rakugo debut, which she kind of already did. But it's her real Rakugo debut because it's not an amateur event. She's like, becoming like an apprentice and stuff. So she is now learning from someone of the Arakawa school, and we see young journalism lady is very, very pumped up about this because Hikaru is the one that she knows about. So I wonder, is she going to appear in this story at all if Hikaru is not involved? Because she hasn't shown up at literally any event that Hikaru has not been present for. Also, Koreshi is looking at his phone. Is like, okay, she's here too.
Yeah.
So, Akane is surprised to see Hikaru, and she goes, "Oh, why?" And she says, "Oh, because I'm Rakugoka. I'm the apprentice of Iken Arakawa, and that's my name here, Arakawa Hikaru," which I guess Akane didn't recognize, because I thought that, or I think that, because she just calls herself Arakawa Hikaru, right?
Yeah.
Like that's that. So there's a big thing that kind of happens here where the kid, I can't remember his name at this point. His head is thinking about her name as it appears on the order of performances, and Hikaru's name is being covered up by his head. So it's like, oh, is the reason why Akane didn't recognize her name because she's operating under a different title? No, she's just Hikaru Arakawa.
I
like
mean,
Akane is Akane Arakawa.
it would make sense in the sense that you're like, I'm sure Akane's like not completely. I imagine she's like, I could know somebody else named Hikaru who was also a Rakugeka, and maybe just didn't think that Hikaru was going pro or
Right.
anything like that. I don't know. It seems like it's like the reasoning's there enough that I'm like, yeah, nobody noticed until this exact moment. I mean, Akane also apparently is like a trained Rakugoka, and every time like somebody has to be like, you should check the book to see what other people are doing, right? She's like, oh yeah, like so she might just not like books. That might just be like a little nugget of Akane lore, a little nug that she just hates books.
Yeah, that's it. I guess Akane could just have some sort of like, kind of like tunnel vision where she's just very focused on certain things.
Or she hates books. Books killed her dad. I mean, we know canonically what is happening with her dad, but maybe like a book fell on her dad and gave him like a bump on the noggin, and that's why he didn't perform well, or something like. Or maybe they did just kill him in between. We just haven't talked about it. Like a book fell directly into his mouth and he choked on
that's the real reason why Akane is so passionate about Rakugo, is because like, I'm going to show the world we don't need books for stories.
We can all just get up on a stage in front of an audience and share stories. We don't need these these murder weapons anymore.
Let's burn them all. Burn the books. All right.
Like, interesting. If you just don't like to check, you could say that instead of this whole elaborate anti-book statement. She's like, no, you're not tricking me with this.
So, even the kid who is also Iken Arakawa's apprentice is like, wait, you're Iken's apprentice? Because Hikaru has deliberately been keeping her enrollment under an Arakawa master a secret up to this point, mostly because of her acting career. And she's like, yeah, I mean, like, honestly, he's kind of been directing it too, because it's to help drum up public interest, and he's added some glitz and glamour to the event. But now that kind of shaken off her surprise, she's happy to see Hikaru. She's like, yeah, if you're dedicated enough to join the school while you're still acting, that means you've gotten really sucked into the Rakugo swamp, huh? So that's our title.
Oh, Rakugo taps for black mana.
Yeah.
You can cast a lot of zombies with this Rakugo.
Akane sure knows how to make, Rakugo seem really, really attractive for describing, like, getting into it as being sucked into a swamp.
She's just, she's in her own kind of flavor right now.
I guess.
Yeah, she's just like, yeah, it's like a disgusting, poopy swamp that you waddle into and play around like a pig. And they're like, is that supposed to be appealing? She's like, is it not to you? Oh, maybe I'm just into different things.
Yep. So Hikaru says, yep, I am stuck here, and it's thanks to you. So watch closely again. You'll see how different I am from Hikaru Koragi, because she's Hikaru Arakawa while she's... Anyway, so she starts performing, and she introduces the story of The Miller's Torment, a story about Tokubei the rice miller, lovesick for Maruyama the Oiran. At the urging of a male geisha, he takes the 10 ryo he's saved up over 13 years and goes to see her. So she starts performing, and the main thing that people take away in terms of her acting is that she's actually properly conveying conversation between two people instead of going super over the top and acting. She's acting, so there's that, and but everyone also immediately realizes that it's familiar enough with her work that Hikaru has to have learned this story from Urara. And we cut to Urara, who is hanging out with her apprentice, and who says, "So why'd you agree to teach her?" And because she just came up to you and said, "Hey, you taught Akane. You should teach me too." And Urara's like, I mean, I like that I just kind of appreciated that she was blunt about that. She didn't have any concern or shame about what others would think. And then, yeah, I taught them both some stories that are suitable for headliners. And as Hikaru gets into it, Urara is saying that, yeah, Hikaru has a certain charm to her that is not quite like my own. Her performance was closer, however, to mine than Akane's. And Hikaru does this big thing where she's acting in the role of the Oiran, and she acts all flirty, I guess I'll call it that. She's doing it. Holding her.
It's charming, yeah.
It is charming. And Urara says, like, look, compatibility is everything in a performance, but even still, seeing an act from another performer of her generation that she herself wasn't able to do has to be unsettling to her. Because, of course, Akane could not play the role of the bewitching and charming Oiran. She had to go for a clumsy interpretation of it. So seeing someone, hey, her own age, just and master it in that way that she couldn't, sure, that'll push her. Mm-hmm. And the big takeaway that our journalist's friend has is, I underestimated her. It's only been a year since the Karaku Cup, and she's grown this much. And there is this very kind of creepy role shift in the story about that the story takes, and Hikaru starts to look really creepy. The color fades from her eyes as she says so, and how since he couldn't see the Oiran again, the man went to ring the bell of torment, because if you ring the bell, you receive great riches, but afterwards you will die and suffer in hell. But he didn't care because he just wanted to see her so desperately that he would even risk eternal damnation for it. And she finishes the story, and everyone in the crowd's like, "Ugh, that was creepy." Okay.
Carry on.
So we have established that there are now 3 front runners from this part of the selection. There's Akane, there's Kaichi, and there's Hikaru, who are all head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah, it's good. Like, I know I've been super critical of like Hikaru showing up and being considered a threat. I guess in my mind, this is like the match that you have before the big match, so that they can pick up a big win and carry some momentum. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess I just didn't. You could have just done this. I didn't need the 3 promos that like teased that this was going to happen or whatever. But I get that that's the thing going. I'm still not in a place where I particularly care that much about Hikaru. I don't find there to be that dynamic of like side elements to her. Like it's like her personality is super interesting, or to me like little details about that. But like, I'm intrigued now. I'm down for it. I'm still much more interested in the other guy who has like a lot of like really cool like little facets about them. But yeah, good chapter I think overall.
There's definitely a stark contrast between the two of them, because Hikaru is, this person who comes from another world. She's already famous. She, was this person who kind of took things kind of casually and now is taking them more seriously. And also she's Akane's age, and is kind of a reflection of her. And then there's Kaichi, who is this dad who just is really new to stuff, but he's also really talented.
Yeah, who after this performance is going to roast up a barbecue for everybody. Yeah.
Hey kids,
which one of you guys needs your air filters changed? You're just like, all right, thanks, Raku Dad.
Rocket. Yeah. I guess we'll see what else there is to look forward to from this competition. Because I remember this is only like the first half of it too, and it feels like we're in a weird kind of pace. I feel like with the Akane-banashi, where it's kind of like we're sort of breezing through a few certain elements of it. It almost feels like, but I imagine that we're going to be coming close to what feels like a big moment, which might not be the best for Akane, in terms of where she'll stand in terms of trying to reach her objectives. But I hope we reach something soon. Speaking of something big, so it's Blue Box time. It's chapter number 96, Christmas Eve, and we get this color page of Chinatsu, looking all expressive, and it's a nice little painting thing. So Chinatsu left behind her friends because she wanted to go and see Taiki about something. But when she gets to Taiki's home, he's not home yet. So she immediately leaves, and like, as Taiki's mom comes out, she says, "Oh, well, congrats on winning." Oh, she's gone. Oh, okay. Well, maybe she went to the store. So Chinatsu goes back to the school. She's looking for Taiki. There's a bunch of people who are singing carols together, including members of the badminton club. Nishi has decided to stop slave driving people. And they take notice that Chinatsu has come by, and they're like, "Oh, didn't you have a game today?" And she says, "Oh, I had to get something, I forgot." So they invite her to the party, and they're like, "Yeah, the rock band's hosting a cool little Christmas concert." And Taiki is doing all the cleaning right now, and he said that he was fine with that arrangement. And Nishida says, "Oh yeah, by the way, did Taiki's friend make it to your game? Because he gave her a ticket that, like, he challenged Matsuoka to a shuttle run competition, and he ran until he could barely stand. So it must have been like really important to him. And I was kind of curious, what kind of friend that is that he did all that for. Maybe she's Taiki's girlfriend, and Chinatsu's gone." So they're like, "All right," and they keep on partying. So Chinatsu keeps on looking around, and she goes into like the locker room and the storage room, and she comes across Taiki just singing Christmas carols to himself while decorating a little tree.
Is it just cute or terrifying? If I walked into a room,
it depends on how good of a singer he is.
Oh, so it's a town face. Because in my mind, I'm like, maybe he hears it from the next room, and he's just adding into it. Because we can hear like a little bit of the melody, but it sounds like that's just him here, like singing that she hears. Later on, we hear other people singing, and it like carries in. But in my mind, I feel like it would be very terrifying if I walked in and someone was like dead alone. Well, yeah, especially if they're singing it like that. Yeah, the room's dark except for a single spotlight that flickers directly down on them.
They're scraping their hook hand along the wall as they go.
Blood's dripping from the ceiling. Yeah, like that's definitely scary, right?
I think that you're probably right that he can probably just make out the song.
I was saying, I think it's really cute. Like if he just hears them next door and he's like, "But I'm over here working, but we're all singing the same songs."
Yeah,
some very religious ones too as we get into it.
Oh yeah, so Chinatsu, opens up the door and kind of barges in on him while kind of like, you're singing by yourself. And Taiki jumps and says, "I thought you were a ghost." And Chinatsu says, "Should you have expected Santa?" Which confuses Taiki, and rightfully so. But yeah, he's like, what about your game? What are you doing here? And she says, "Oh, we won." And by the way, thanks for that ticket. And she smiles at him. And she says, "I was able to make up Yumika thanks to you. And I hear you ran a ton in order to get it." And Taiki just thinks to himself, somebody was talking about things they shouldn't have. He immediately knows it was Nishida. He's like, "Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's just, a little run." And but Tsunatsu says, I knew the whole time that Yumika was troubled by something, but I figured if she wasn't going to talk to me about it, then I wouldn't say anything. And I regretted that so much. But today I was able to make peace with some of that painful stuff, and I'm really grateful to you for that, Taiki. And Taiki is initially blown away by this, but he does the awkward boy thing of like, I'm going to try and brush this off, no emotion, it's fine, I can't handle this, so I'm just going to act like it's no big deal. And it's like, you don't have to thank me. I know that you've been influenced in a lot of ways by Yumika, and I've been influenced by you, so all I did was return the favor.
Aww.
And she kind of stares at him for a second. And as they're sitting there, one of the ornaments falls from the tree and rolls to the ground. And Tsunatsu picks it up and puts it in Taiki's hand. And they kind of stop there for a second. And she's staring at him while handing off the ornament. And she's...
Dun, dun. This is where in a bad series you would just start hearing heartbeat sound effects.
They're just looking at each other, and Tsunatsu's got this nervous, I guess, expression on her face. And she starts to lean forward, and she just says, I'm sorry, just for a little while. Let me hug you. And she just fully leans in and just wraps her arms around his shoulders and leans into him.
It's so sweet.
And there's the Christmas tree there, and there's caroling in the background while she's just holding him really close.
It's so sweet, Nick.
That's where we end.
Stop it. Stop those kids from being cute, Nick. Shoot them.
Taiki,
with your like confetti gun. Be like, no, that's what's more romantic. Shit.
Play really, really loud music at them. No, wait, that's what's happening right now.
You know what song they should play, and it'll kill the mood.
So many songs could kill the mood right now.
Yes. I was thinking a particular song I sent you earlier today.
Oh. I don't know what's
I don't want to say it because I jinxed myself once by talking poorly about Linkin Park during a podcast, but there's a different singer's take on Breaking the Habit that I don't know why you'd put onto an album. I truly don't know.
It was an album full of EPs and demos and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, let's include the part where we hadn't finished Breaking the Habit." So Mike Shinoda, as like just a demo of like, here's where the lyrics will go, quote unquote, sang for Chester Bennington's part.
I mean, it's worth it because you are like, look. You can't replace Chester. Like,
no.
Like it's clearly like that's a voice right there. But it's definitely one of those ones like you either have to have a great sense of humor or it's an accident that you put it on there and you're like, oh my god, no. I didn't put the one where I tried to say Breaking the Habit, did I?
Never know. No one must ever know. Yeah, I think if that were playing, then everyone would be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Would not be focused on...
I mean, already they're like, I don't know if Breaking the Habit's really the most romantic song I could have played.
And that's about like self-destruction and
yeah.
But this chapter, yes, it's precious and wonderful, and I think that they're being very, very cute, and I think that it's like just kind of ends on a perfect note of like, yes, they've gotten a lot closer to each other, but it's like not full-on romantic just yet. There's a nice conclusion to this story arc of just, oh, isn't this sweet?
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, Nick, let's talk about our favorite chapter this week. Actually, that might not be an ironic thing. It might be very close.
It's up there. It's Morgan time, everybody. So it's Cipher Academy, Chapter 19, decode as fast as the wind, quiet down quickly, invade and launch an air raid, then remain as unstoppable as a dragonfly.
I forgot this title until you started it. I started reading it and I was like, why is it so long?
This is like some weird Furin Kazan shit right here. Like it's some sort of take on the art of war, I think, but it's about codes and air raids for some reason. So
just one more time.
Decode as fast as the wind. That's Fu. Be swift as the wind and movement. Quiet down quickly. Be quiet as the forest. Invade and launch an air raid. Invade as fiercely as fire. Then remain as unstoppable as a dragonfly. Mountain. Okay. Mountain is Furin Kazan.
Is a mountain unstoppable? That feels more unmovable object.
Yeah, I don't think it's unstoppable. It's like it's something along the lines of immovable or steadfast.
So I was gonna say it's definitely. I see a mountain more like the Blob than I do Juggernaut. If you know what I'm saying.
No, I do.
Everyone remembers that iconic scene from X-Men Evolution where they decided who actually wins between the unstoppable force and the immovable object. The answer, of course, is Juggernaut. He's just a bigger caliber. He's a bigger caliber character than Blob. I'm sorry, Blob. I don't mean anything poorly by it. I'm just saying. Come on, it's the Juggernaut. You know, he's a big time villain.
So I know. So, Quinn, you and I both play Marvel Snap. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the cards that they've, like, apparently, like, the design is out there, but they haven't actually put them out. Have you seen the one for the Blob?
Yeah, it's perfect for the Blob.
Nothing can move this card.
It is perfect. And I should note, in that case, Blob wins the fight between him and Juggernaut. So...
Unless, like, his ability has been, like, somehow canceled out. But
well, yes, if Juggernaut needs help to beat the Blob, then yeah, I guess he wins. if fucking Juggernaut teamed up with Leech to beat the Blob, I guess he's the victor.
There's such weird cards in Marvel Snap.
I'm just saying, canonically, it makes zero sense.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, to get back to this point... Cipher Academy, it's the leading sergeant selection thing. Leading private, leading sergeant, I can't remember.
Leading private, I believe.
It's leaky poker where everyone has... they're playing poker, but you can see everyone else's cards except your own, and all the cards are encoded, so you have to decrypt them in order to figure out what cards they are. So, Iroha has just answered anonymity requested's raise of the big blinds by going all in with all 5 of his chips, and they're staring down across each other, across the table at each other. And as they get into that, oh gosh, come on, it's Yosai Mura is her name. She raised her hand and says, "Hey, Iroha, you skipped my turn. You're across the table from each other, and I'm next in the betting order, so I get to go before you do that." She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I guess you can go first." And she puts in, is like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna bet 3 chips before Iroha makes his bet," and then Iroha is like, "Well, yeah, I go all in to 5," and he's like, "I feel really stupid that I have to do this now," but Toshusai says, "Yeah, I fold," and anonymity request is like, "Shirks, fine, I fold too." And Yosamura says, "Yeah, I fold too." So Iroha wins the pot, and some of the students are like, "Wait, what the fuck just happened? Why did she do that? What's going on here?" But some of them kind of have caught on to what's going on. Yosamura just says, "Yeah, now I can enjoy this because now it's more of a fair fight," because she's helped to even the chip count out quite a bit. Instead of Iroha being at 5, being, less than half of everyone else, now he is barely the chip leader with 13, and anonymity requested is at 9. So there's a much less of a gulf there between them. And she says, also, I didn't think it was fair that, Iroha could do that cool thing before and only have a single-digit vote count. So, yeah. This is my way of just playing fair.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's nice.
Yep, it all works.
Yeah, so then Toshizai's like, hey, I've got no disagreements with what you said, but I'm still in second place here, so do you consider that to be appropriate? And Yosamura says, oh, come on, it's impossible for me in one move to completely readjust all the votes. Plus, you lost to Iroha right after we enrolled, so shouldn't you be second to him?
That's
and
so
it was like,
brutal.
no, don't!
What have you done?
So Toshizai's like, all right, yeah, I'd only just gotten done forgetting about that, so... So she's like, I'm gonna fucking kick your asses now, and she's glaring down everyone while making this very forced, pleasant smile. So they're like, all right, can we actually get this done here? And we just get kind of a little bit of a skip in the action because everyone is so busy trying to decipher all of the cards that they're just kind of taking in turns, just folding around the table. Not making any big moves, just trying to gather more information as they're going around. And so Iroha's trying to figure out, like, what's my strategy here? I can see 15 cards from my perspective per round, so I should be able to decode a number of them. So, for example, there's this card where it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. And I kind of recognize that as being from the Red Queen in Through the Looking class. And the Queen of Hearts is in Alice in Wonderland, the first book, so this must be the other Red, the Queen of Diamonds, right? Well, no, that's what I would have concluded a month ago. It is, and so Yosamura has come to the same conclusion about it, which is, see, here's the thing. There's so many clues, and so many of them are so simple in nature that it leaves you open to just kind of work yourself into logical circles, trying to figure out which card it is, when all of the cards are, of course, so similar to each other. And so she says, for example, the Red Queen is in reference not to the Queen of Hearts, but to the Black Queen in chess. So could that be the Queen of Spades? Could that be the Queen of Clubs, if you look into that further? So what the hell is it? It's probably a queen, but which one?
Yeah.
So
they're mocking you, Nick. They're like, we heard you on your little podcast.
We heard you. Yeah.
With your tiny, effeminate penis. And you're all like, that's harsh. I don't know why you had to say that, but I just thought it was probably a Red Queen. They're like, with that tiny penis you would. You're like, why is this the thing? They're like, you don't understand. We were giving you a clue. Tiny penis, obviously ace of spades. So we were trying to give you a clue for the cards. You didn't break the code. You and your tiny penis can go.
Wait, so now that you're saying that it's the ace of spades, why are you still saying tiny penis? Like, oh, that's another part of the clue that you haven't solved yet.
You don't understand. There's levels of us insulting your penis and giving you clues. You're like, I don't want any of these, though.
Seems a very bizarre thing to attack me over.
You don't even know me. Why are you doing this?
Listen, I'm making a point not to meet people who have tiny penises. Okay, anyhow, so everyone's still trying to figure out what's going on. And the teacher is looking over them playing, and she says, like, look, the only way that you can really win is if each player can confirm at least half of the 53 cards. And with a success rate of at least 50%, that probably won't happen until after the 10th round, if they're fast. And then we get to the 8th round, and Toshizai, in a very extra fashion, holds up 2 poker chips on a fucking bullet and says, I'm betting 2 chips.
She's impaled them. Like, I want somebody to be like, you know, we use those chips in our normal games. You didn't. I guess we just won't anymore since you decided to impale them with a bullet.
Now they'll only be good for those games where we insult people with tiny penises. Toshisai's like, look, I thought my whole thing is like talking about butts, so I don't know why you guys, and even
Yeah,
I'm like, why are you guys talking about these penises
you guys
so much?
stick to your gimmicks. I've got mine, and it's a real pain in my rear end, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna buy a 7 for the day. She's looking at her hand. She's like, that's 7. All right, 3 more.
And guess what? She's got another thing, which is calling people piggy. Hang on, does Kogoe say anything about this? No, she talks about poker logic. It does nothing to do with why she's calling her opponents piggies. I guess because they're 3 little piggies and she's the big bad wolf, which I don't know if she knows how that story ends. So she just points at everyone and points at their hands and says, utilizing chances such as these is the key to leaky poker. Wouldn't you agree? And the point is, and some of the onlookers have to say, like, she probably has figured stuff out over the past 8 rounds and has realized, and she's been through all 53 codes more than once. So she understands enough to know that none of her opponents have a valid poker hand. And the chances of nobody in a game of 4 people playing poker having no possible hands beyond high card is extraordinarily low. So she has drawn a conclusion, because her opponents don't have anything, that she must have something, and so she must be the winner for the hand. No explanation at all of, like, what are the cards, what do they mean. We get to see what they are, but we don't know what they mean still. But yeah, Toshisai says, did you really think that after seeing Iroha show us how to sniff out the right answer in the first round, that I wouldn't learn anything from that? That only the main character puts forth effort in the shadows, master? Because, oh yeah, someone's been brought up the fact that she's technically supposed to still be Iroha's servant, and she's still pretty pissed off about that. So Iroha and the others call, but Tayu from the side is like, yeah, she won the moment that she made them all bet, even if she loses in terms of hands. So everyone shows their cards, and they're like, yeah, the victor is Toshisai. So that drags everyone down by a couple of chips and brings Toshisai all the way up to 23 chips, which is more than half of all of the chips in play. And she says, has this idiom ever been used before? Staring at a bunch of pig butts. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I have been trying to think so hard. I'm like, what is the censored word? Like, what vulgarity could she possibly put there? Because, like, in like an alliterative way, shit staring at a bunch of pig butts makes the most sense. But then she's calling herself shit. So
I guess, yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't ever want to know what it is. I don't want, if this series becomes the biggest series in the world, and at the end of it, you know, it's like, well, here's what I meant to put in those. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know the answer, because it's so much fun thinking about what it is. Because every time you think of a new word, you're like, oh, like, maybe it's like the C word. And you're like, no, again, she is calling herself that. You're like, none of this seems to gel.
Yeah, I don't really get it either. All I know is that Toshisai is going full Kaiba mode, and she's got Magnum 6-shooter clips in her hair for this shot. And
well, I think, yeah. Oh, does she not always have those? I thought that was just like a part of her aesthetic, but those are the front ones. I guess she doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do love that she has tiny Gatling guns in her hair.
So yeah, this was, I think, a very, I mean, just in terms of like, okay, here's the big final showdown for this part of the story, at least. Yeah, let's give each of these competitors a chance to shine. And a good way to start off is with fucking Toshisai, who is, you know, our big, you know, deuteragonist / rival character. So yeah, let's fucking do that. And presumably we'll get something from Yosamura, and then it'll probably look like an enemy to request is going to win, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Nick. Let's say goodbye.
Yep. It's chapter 29 of Ginka and Luna.
Leave the memories alone.
Ginka and Luna. Yeah.
Because I want to say the way it is. Carry on, Nick. I'm just going to do this in the background.
Okay. Right. The fact that you're talking about memories is appropriate, I guess. So, a year has passed since Ginka came up with his plan to try and restore Luna's memories, and we see that all our favorite characters are here, and Ginka is casting a spell, and there's a big summoning circle and lots of like branches of like crystal or something like that surrounding them as he's trying to.
It's like an underwater world.
I guess it is coral. It does definitely look like it. Yeah, now you say it. So yeah, for the past year,
where the
everyone's
bubble
been.
fruit comes from, Nick.
Yeah,
Start that argument all over again.
I won that argument.
I know. So... I've had to defer to you at this point, but now I have the return pick. I'm like, Nick, no, it came from the ocean in a series that only existed 7 or 8 years later.
It floated up from here, and then it went up to where Toriko
and then it appeared like, you know, you just had to become a good enough chef to see it. Come on. You tiny penis bitch to listen to me.
Damn it.
The girls from that code solving school told me to say that to you. They said it'd be a little hit you needed later.
God. They're so vicious and like very focused on me for some reason.
They tell me it's for different clues, but they just keep saying the same thing.
So everyone's been trying to research ways to help restore Luna's lost memories, and they are now trying to employ an ancient form of magic, and everyone's like, come on, Luna, remember, Luna. And Luna just looks at them and says, yeah, sorry, I feel the same. Hasn't gotten many of her memories back. Yeah. So everyone's like, it sucks, and they all go and they hang out in a cabin in the winter, and they're all depressed except for Luna's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry it didn't work out. But Ginka thinks to himself that there are 3 principles of magic. 1, I can't kill anyone. 2, I can't make anyone fall. Sorry, wrong 3 principles of magic. You can't bring back the dead back to life. You can't go back in time, and you can't heal a wounded soul.
That last one feels like horse shit. That last one
it's a little bit.
You're like, all right, I get it. You can't go back in time. Fine. You can't bring somebody back. Got it. You can't heal a wounded soul. You're like, so if somebody's like, my house burned down, I'm really wounded about it. You can't be like, I restored your... I was like, I tried. I know there's a spell to build houses, but if I tried, it repairs your wounded soul. Anyway, law of magic. Good luck living in the snow.
Anyway, I'm going to go build an unrelated house. You can't live in it because that will repair your soul, so don't go in there.
Yeah, you'll kill us all. So please don't.
Principle of magic number 1. The rich get richer and the miserable stay miserable because their souls are already fulfilled and happy. Yours are sad and depressed, and thus, if you benefit from it at all, it'll violate one of the 3 principles of magic. Anyway, that's why your cat's staying dead. Okay, bye-bye.
I do wish somebody was just like, maybe the rule should just be you can't bring back memories or something like that. If there's apparently a magic spell that allows you to trade memories for magic power. I want to be more esoteric about this.
Listen, we can't use magic for this purpose. Then what would happen to all the psychiatrists? They'd be out of a job, and that would be cruel.
Yeah. Like, Luna's showing up with hot chocolate. She's like, I got chocolate for everybody. They're like, no! That'll heal my wounded soul! Smash it! It sizzles through the ground like acid. You almost killed us all, you fool!
Yeah, so Ginka flashes back to a time when he was training with Luna, and she was trying to make a flower grow with magic, that first very important spell that she was trying to learn. But Ginka thinks to himself that Glüna used memory magic to gain an incredible amount of power, and that power has been messing her up ever since. But he's like, if she's just messing up with basic magic like this, then this is as far as she's ever going to get. Back in the present, Anemone and Beretta and the twins from that dark magic guy are all walking with Luna, and they're walking in the snow, and they're like, oh, so this is where you grew up, on this mountain? And Beretta is like, alone. It's awkward. So she asked her, like, hey, have you remembered anything? And Luna's like, well, I grew up here all by myself. I was alone. I know that. But why do I feel this way? And she is also thinking of that moment where she was trying to make the flower grow, but of course, Ginka is not in her memory, even though she's talking to someone, saying, like, it's not a failure. It's not a failure. And she's like, I've seen this in my memory so many times, but it feels like something is missing. But why? So they're all hanging out, and they go out on a frozen pond, and Emily's like, I want fresh fish. So Perez's like, yeah, so we're gonna open up a hole with magic. And Emily's like, okay, but don't crack the part you're sitting on. She's like, I'm not stupid. It's like, aw, look at them arguing like a cute couple that they definitely are, or at least they are in my brain. So. But Luna just uses her magic and just lifts up a cube of water with fish in it, like Ginka did a long ass time ago. And she says, it's strange. It's really strange, isn't it? Because she knows that something is missing from this memory too. And she's crying in spite of herself. But Ginka comes racing up to them, and he says, Luna, there's something I want to say to you. You might not understand what I'm saying. When I said that there's nothing a magician can't do, I lied. That was just something I said on the spur of the moment to make you feel better. There will always be some wishes that magic just can't make come true, even wishes that may matter more than anything in the world to you. And he thinks back over his failures, like trusting the villain,
Magaraka, whatever.
Magaraka. You can't. He said things you can't go back in time, and you can't redo what you wish you'd said when thinking of his sister. You can't bring the dead back to life. You can't bring lost memories back. Ah, see, if you put it that way, it sounds a lot better, doesn't it?
Sounds easy. Yeah, they changed the rules up over in Abject Magic Rule Land, huh? They're like, yeah. There was some blowback.
But Ginka thinks to himself, still, I choose to believe. And he thinks back to what Luna told him in that moment when he was worried that she wasn't progressing, which was, even though she didn't make a flower grow, she was able to make little buds sprout. And she says, look more closely, I did better than I did yesterday. And Ginka approaches Luna and he says, my name's Ginka. Let's be friends. We're going to go travel the world together, and maybe that'll help bring some memories back. And he thinks to himself, no matter how long it takes, I choose to believe we will bring her memories back. And then it's like, okay, well, how about the ocean? I've always wanted to see the ocean. Oh, but you might melt if we go there. I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's do it.
Yeah. I guess there's supposed to be a beat of her just smiling, looking at his face and being like, oh, he's so confident. I guess it'll work. But it really does, like, in that moment, feel like, oh, but if you melt, you might melt if we go there. Fuck it. Let's go.
It'll be fine. So yeah, the last shot is of the two of them, reaching their hands out to each other, and instead of being on a frozen pond, they're out at the beach, showing, hey, these two are going to keep on having adventures together. And as they kind of touch hands, they say, let's go, and the series ends. It's a bit bittersweet. I mean, we knew this was coming for quite a while at this point. It feels like that, like, look, the series is going to end. It's going to end prematurely. Get ready for it. And here it is. And although it wasn't the best, like, rushed conclusion I've seen from a series, I do like the note that we have ended on here of, like, look, not everything's going to be better all at once, but if we keep on going, then I trust that there's going to be a happy ending out there at some point. And they had many more adventures together. So it makes you feel bittersweet because, like, you know what? I do wish that I could have followed them on this, the rest of those journeys. But we can't. The series got canceled.
Yeah. This is what fan fiction is for.
Yeah.
I don't have, like, super strong feelings on this series. I kind of feel like it became less interesting as it, like, reached that point of, like, oh, this is clearly being canceled. like we introduced Locke for him to not matter whatsoever. Like
Pretty
not,
much, yeah.
not even like any kind of conclusion for that character who hated wizards.
I don't think he gets a line in this chapter.
Yeah,
So.
I like straight up like nothing about that character. Then there's like the little detail. It's like Magaraka's still out there, and that's not addressed. Of like, are we gonna deal with like the dark magic god at some point? We're like, well, no, the adventures continue, so presumably they will at some point. But it is like an odd thing of like, why didn't she just say she defeated him then? And I guess it's so you don't take away the drama of Ginka's flashback of like, oh, you unleashed that evil into the world, but we did kill it, so I guess it all works out.
Yeah.
So I guess it just like there's a little like funkiness there. But by and large, I think the series was not bad. I think that there is some interesting ideas behind it. It certainly has some of the more wild ideas in terms of like what they are willing to do to characters in a lot of series. Like that Scheherazade fight is like unlike anything I've really seen in most series, even battle manga. So, I think there's some creative ideas. I think it maybe just didn't catch on this time. But I'm curious to see when this mangaka comes back again. Shinpei Watanabe, potentially, I think, could have another really good series with like maybe a little more zhuzh to it or something like that.
Yep. I hope that this proves to be, overall beneficial to Watanabe's career, and that they're able to learn from this, and that their next series is all the better for having had this one published first. But we'll just have to, see what the future holds. And I think that's, really what this is all about. It's just like, hey, look ahead to the future optimistically, and that's what we'll do.
Indeed. All right, Nick. Movies.
All right, so our latest series in Weekly Shonen Jump is Tenmaku Cinema, which is by Yuto Tsukuda and Shun Seiki, the duo that did Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma.
Oh, is it the author from Food Wars as well?
It's both of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. Interesting.
Yep. And shockingly, like no fan service in this.
Yet, Nick, let's say yet. We don't know where this series might go.
Yet. So we opened the story in
We'll read this dude's
theater.
script, and he's like, the first page, the bikini car wash is open.
Truly only one of the great masters of cinema can direct this.
I should have looked at the title, Bikini Car Wash. Extreme. Without an E, it just starts with the X.
Oh, boy. So we start this off with a bizarre figure appearing in a not-so-crowded cinema. There's only like 4 people in the theater watching what looks to be like a classic samurai film, and he thinks to himself, who will it be? And then he goes to one of them in particular. It's a young man whose arm that he grasps, and you can see the indentations of his fingers on the boy's arm as he grips it, and that's where we get our title, Tenmaku Cinema. And following up on this, we get a much more thorough introduction to this kid, who is just a movie-loving guy. He has a, quote, scoring system for movies, which at first it looks like he's going to, be like really harsh on stuff because he's going over like -2 points because the protagonist acting was kind of weak, -0.5 point because I feel like the director likes to do this kind of story a lot, but everything else is plus 800 million points. So he loves movies, and he loves just watching movies. He introduced himself as Hajime Shinichi, and he says, like, look, I used to be like really sick when I was little, so the only times that I got to actually like see anything beyond like really plain rooms was through movies, by watching stuff on screens. So that's where this love of film developed from. And now he's part of this film appreciation club. He's the head of it, and he just spends all of his time after class in this club watching movies and just loving them. So everyone's like, okay, yeah, we get it. You like the movies. Like, can't you guys appreciate how great this movie is? They're like, I mean, look, we like movies, but we like movies like normal people. We're just here because, you asked us to be here. And one of the members of the club says, if you love movies so much, why don't you make your own? And he's like, how dare you take movies so lightly? And he's like, look, an amateur can't just fucking make a movie. There's so much you have to do. Movies are the manifestation of wit and intellect, the fruits of the passions of cineasts. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm not sure. So anyway, he's like, look, I can't make a film. I'm too busy enjoying watching them. He starts to go over, like, he also starts to fulfill some paperwork, but when he reaches for a pen, he pauses. He's like, I'll do it another day. And we get a little bit more of him. We learned that he's 14 years old, so he's in his last year of junior high. Then we catch up to him when he's in class, so it's like a bit more of like his regular life. So he tries to answer a question when he's called upon verbally, but it's a math problem. So the teacher's like, no, fucking get up to the board and answer it like a normal person. So he goes up, and as he takes the piece of chalk, those finger indentations appear around his arm again and take him over. And it says, give me your arm. And it just writes it on the board over and over and over again. And so, yeah, this spirit is possessing him and is controlling him by grabbing his arm and forcing it to do stuff. So people think that he's just a Chunibyo because he's acting like literally his arm is possessed, which is just straight up a stereotype for dorky Japanese youths of around this age. So nobody's taking him seriously or realize anything is wrong. So he's trying to deal with this because he knows that something has been messed up with him since he got possessed first at the theater, but he hasn't been directly addressing the fact that what's going on is that there's a ghost that's haunting him, because he's in denial over it. He's like, look, no one's saying anything to me. There's not actually a ghost grabbing my arm. Clearly there's something else. I must just be having stressful problems. But eventually he gets fed up with the ghost constantly talking to him, and he's like, stop it! Stop being a weird ghost! And so the ghost's like, oh, you do realize I'm here. Cool. I can talk to you normally. Hello.
Good. Now we can formally introduce ourselves.
Now we can do the plot of this story. Thank you. So the ghost introduced himself to Shinichi as Takehiko Tenmaku. And Tenmaku says, like, look, I write scripts for movies, and I'm dead now. So I literally can't write a script. I was just stuck in that theater floating around until you came by, and I was able to possess you. Aren't you lucky? All right. Right before I died, I was collaborating with a director on a script, and we were going over it. It was going to be our masterpiece, and now I'm dead. So now I need you to basically write down the script as I dictated to you, and then we'll send it to the director, and then my movie will get made. And then I'll be able to pass on. Won't that be great? And Shinichi's like, no! I've got my own life to live. And he starts arguing with him while he's standing in the middle of the street. And it's that kid from We Never Learn, and his mom.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What's going on?
It's straight up like what's going on? Like, oh, kids.
Just keep moving, honey. So yeah, he's like, look, movies are just my hobby. I don't have time for all of this. So Tenmaku says, what if I threaten to strangle you? And he uses his scarf to start strangling Shinichi. And he's like, yeah, I've learned that there are certain things I can do to your body. I was experimenting on you while you slept.
Like, he was strangling me while I slept?
Yeah, isn't that great? Now I learned that my scarf is prehensile.
You're like,
So Shinichi's like, okay, fine. I've got stuff to do, and I can't get out of this, so I'll write your stupid script. But he tries to look on the bright side and is like, hey, I'm a big movie fan. This means I'll get to, kind of actually learn from a professional screenwriter firsthand. But then he says, like, oh, by the way, who am I going to be delivering this to? I hope I know, where I can reach them. And Tenmaku says, oh, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of him. He's Ryu Shirakawa. And freaking Shinichi is on top of just being a regular movie fan, is apparently a mega fan of Shirakawa. He's got essentially all of his movies, and he's like, yeah, that's that Ryu Shirakawa. You're familiar with him. And so Tenmaku is, like, yeah, all right, good. And Shinichi tosses the pen away. He's like, I'm not going to write for you. He's like, no, Ryu Shirakawa is an amazingly legendary director. Just how old are you supposed to be? Because you look kind of young. He's like, well, I'm a third year in high school because look, I've still got my badge from high school when I died. So I'm 18 years old. And Shinichi's like, how does someone your age know Ryu Shirakawa? That's impossible. That you're disrespecting cinema. So Tenmaku's like, how do I prove to you that I know that I know Ryu Shirakawa? I mean, like, you've got to believe me. But Shinichi comes to a more important realization, which is, I guess it doesn't actually matter if you knew him or not, because he's been dead for 20 years. So it's impossible for me to deliver your script to him. And Tenmaku's like, wait, what? Hold on. What's that say? It's 2023? Okay, so I've been dead for 30 years. Yay! So he's fine. So, yeah, I mean, being in a movie theater without any point of reference of the outside world essentially has ruined his frame of reference.
Hasn't he just been like, oh my god, look at the garbage that's been playing in the meantime? Like, they're like, yeah, that's the theater where we mostly just play Adam Sandler movies. Just like, oh god, no.
So when did you think that Grown Ups 2 came out? I don't know, 1995? No, that was peak Sandler era.
That was when it was good. He and all of his friends just hanging about, getting to go to lavish places. You don't get better art than this.
So Tenmaku's not doing so well. He's like, well, I mean, I guess I'm just going to be stuck wandering the earth forever because the guy that I was wanted to make the movie with is also dead. So there's no way that my dream can be realized. My movie will remain incomplete forever. But Shinichi's like, well, maybe there's some other thing that we can do. And time goes by. Shinichi is, continuing to go to class. He's trying to ponder this problem of like, what do I do to get rid of Tenmaku and send him to the afterlife? While he is at school and pondering over this, a bunch of people start to make a ruckus outside as they're gathering around a female student, Himeki, who is a celebrity actress who also attends their school occasionally. They specifically mention like, yeah, she's fucking busy with her career all the time, so she doesn't actually stop by the campus all that much. So Shinichi goes out to try and see her, and we get a brief shot of her, and I do have to admit that I admire the artistic quality and restraint that Shinseki has here. Is like, okay, look, I'm not going to sexualize this girl. I will still make it look like she's very, very, very pretty. And it's like, okay, yeah, you did a good job with that. Her eyes are nice looking.
Yeah.
You didn't sexualize the 13-year-old. Good job, Shinseki.
Round of applause for not doing an upskirt shot again.
Well done.
Bravo that her shirt didn't fly off in our first introduction to her.
Look, I put the bar on the floor and you stepped over it. Good job.
There you go. Sometimes it's all you need to
do. So, yeah, it's not really clear exactly why he went out to see her, but I guess it's just he loves fucking movies, and so he wanted to see a real-life actress up close. I guess that was it. So they talk about her a little bit, and Shinichi's friends are talking about like, oh yeah, she's freaking gorgeous. Her eyes are like bottomless wells, and she's really quiet, despite the fact that on screen she's dazzling and stuff. And Shinichi's like, if only you were this enthusiastic about movies in general. It's like, yeah, well, they're 13-year-old guys. What do you want, dude? So, but he's also a big expert on Himeki's career because he's just a big cinephile, and so he actually goes through like, oh yeah, her acting skills really improved between this movie and this movie, so he knows her career inside out. He also says that she's not the type of person I can just talk to. As a movie fan, it's my role to watch her from a distance. Okay, You made that sound as creepy as possible, but good job. So, but he, I guess, was just thinking maybe she would have known how to solve my problem because she's in movies? Question mark.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's a 13-year-old kid, I guess. So he had some. Tenmaku has basically just been trying to conduct a bunch of different exorcist rituals on himself to get himself sent to the afterlife, but none of it's been working. And meanwhile, he's also been watching movies all day, and she's been honestly fairly accommodating. He's like, "Here, have this tablet. Watch movies on it." And he's like, "I can't use it to I can't browse on it. You have to skip through stuff for me. I want to rewind here and stuff." So Shinichi's like, "Shit, this is a mistake. I never should have played this out."
now he just needs me to do everything. He's like a fucking child.
Yeah, I've got to babysit him and stuff, and there's a montage of Tenmaku like interrupting him while he's eating, interrupting him while he's in the bath, and he's like, "Can you turn up the volume? Can you play the last scene?" Wakes him up in the middle of the night. I want another movie. It's kind of precious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while he's up in the middle of the night putting on a new movie for Tenmaku, he's like, "Hey, so the movie you were going to make with director Shirakawa, what was it going to be about? Maybe there's, some sort of hint into how we can help you to pass on." And Tanaka's like, "Oh, that's the secret." So he fucking throws something at him. Like, "Fuck you! Get out of my house!" So Tenmaku says, "I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you the title. It's called The Fang." So Shinichi's like, "Okay, well, how about this? We'll find another good director and we'll send it to them." But Tenmaku says, no, there's nobody in this world who could ever possibly replace Mr. Shirakawa. I told myself I could die if you were willing to make The Fang. That's how special the story is. Although maybe Steven Spielberg can make it, or George Lucas.
The Lucas one's very amusing to me, because you're like, when's this take place?
Well, yeah, even if he died in 1993, it's like George Lucas is a little bit of a weird choice.
Yeah, see, he must not have played the prequels for him. Yeah, the Spielberg one makes a tiny bit more sense.
Oh, sure.
It's also interesting that he'll name drop actual directors here, but
well, yes.
Whatever the fake name they're giving to the Kurosawa XB is
labeled
that way. I assume in case they have to actually meet him in like a flashback or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah. So, Shinichi is like they kind of have casual conversation where he's like, "By the way, Disney bought Lucas," which admittedly it's still a timely enough reference that I'm like, yeah, that is still kind of weird. That is a good way to blow someone's mind.
Like, what? Do they still make excellent movies? You're like, well, how about you get back on that that iPad and we're going to show you some classic Disney-owned Lucasfilms.
Well, they do make a lot of movies, I'll tell you. But you realize maybe if the right person does appear, he would be able to pass on if that person can make Tenmaku's dream come true. But we go on to the next day. It's the morning. Shinichi's got to fucking go to class, and Tenmaku's trying to stop him by grabbing an umbrella and hooking him around the neck with it. He's like, "No, you need to stream more movies for me. If you're not home, who will press play?" Which is a very selfish thing to do. But so he's following him after him, and he's like, "Stop following me." He's like, "But I have to keep following you, because if I don't follow you, then I'll just be stuck in your house because I'm possessing you. So the only places I can be are with you or at your house. So come home and stream movies for me, because that's the best way to live." But Shinichi, sees, a crowd is gathered because Himeki's, freaking entourage and admirers have gathered around her again. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, Kurai's over there. There she is. She's always super popular." And Tenmaku spots her, and freaking a black aura starts to surround him as he takes in her features. And there is just this big 2-page spread of him looking at her from the background while she just kind of, is focused and walks by. And a trailer basically flashes through his head of scenes from his incomplete film, and lines from it as well as he imagines it. And he just acts and just drags Hajime with the umbrella through the school, sits him down at a desk, scribbles out at hyper speed a script, or at least part of a script. And he's like, "Holy shit! My creative juices are flowing. It feels like I got a temporary surge in spirit power, and I've got total control of his arm, and I can write this out." Actually, he didn't go to the school. He went back.
He went back home. His mom sees him. And it's like, what the fuck's happening?
What's happening? Because he's passed out, but his arm is moving.
Yeah. There's no like conclusion or follow up to it either. Like,
no, we don't find out what happened with
the
his mom.
mom's just like, all right, good luck. Closes the door.
So then Shinichi gets taken back to school and is forced to approach Himeki, and it staggers forward like a zombie, and Tenmaku reaches up with his hands and makes his mouth move and says, "I wrote this for you! Please play this role! Hajime Shinichi will film you!" And it's actually pretty creepy because it looks like this ghost is just piloting a zombie body. And then he stops the possession, and Shinichi, who has been unconscious for hours, collapses on the spot. He wakes up in the freaking school nurse's room, and he's like, "What the hell just happened? I remember everything that happened. Tenmaku has just probably ruined my social life by having me act that way." But he's like, "Oh, she's a famous actress. Surely she won't take what he had me say seriously." Himeki comes into the nurse's office. She has the script in hand, and she holds it up and says, "What's this?" And Shinichi says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forget anything about that." She says, "I accept. I would be delighted to play the lead role. That is what I've come to say." And she, again, just looks completely serious while she says this. But she's on a tight schedule. She says she has to go. "See you tomorrow, director." And Hajime is like, has something very, 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 very good to say in response to this, which is, "Huh?
What? Do what now?"
And Tenmaku is floating over his head, taking a nap, while Shinichi is dealing with the situation he's found himself in, where he's been forced to become a director, with Tenmaku as his writer, and his classmate as his star. So, hey, did a lot to establish what the hell's going to go on with this story. There is definitely some parts of this that are reminiscent of the one-shot that this team did a couple of years ago, in terms of, like, there being like ghostly possession stuff. But it ended up going more in the direction of like Hikaru no Go than an Exorcist type of series. I'm interested to see where this goes next. The artwork for this team is as good as ever, and we're on chapter 1, so it'll probably be a while before the story is ruined by the plot twists. So,
Nick, I love movies. I love movies about movies. I like TV shows about movies. I love manga about movies. I don't care how bad this series is. It's going to be a 10 out of 10 for me that I'm going to want to check out every week. I don't have a veto right now, technically, but I want you to know that subconsciously I am using it already on this series. I just want to read more about this series. I don't even think it's particularly that great. I just love stuff about movies, so I'm all down for this.
Yeah, well, we'll see how the next 2 weeks go. I mean, it'll be very impressive.
Next chapter could be, yes, the movie Bikini Car Wash 17 or whatever you handed me. That's the movie I want to... The role you gave me of Bikini Girl. That's right. She had no name and she's the lead. It really spoke to me. I'd still be like, Nick, I am down for this. They're going to talk about directors or stuff like
Shinichi, I was fascinated by your direction of her boobs bounced a lot.
Most directors...
How much do they bounce? I need to know for my performance to be...
You say that after I'm done doing the bikini car wash, I then go home and do bikini homework. I had you bikini cooking. These every page is a new direction for me to go in. Bikini Netflix, it's incredible. This is truly, this is artiste.
Oh boy!
I don't know.
Yep.
I'm excited to see where it goes. I like that. Nick, let's talk about Mashle.
We got a Mashle to talk about. Yes,
Magic and Muscles 151, Lance Crown, and the final holdout. By the way, guys, you should go check out the first episode of the Mashle anime if that's what you're into.
Right.
It is out, and you got a fun little funky end credits too. So everyone's pretty pooped. We get Caldo Gehenna, or no, Ryu Grant. Sorry, I mix the two of them up all the time. And Rain, who are basically like, we're more or less done. So we are going to put our magic power into you, Mash. So they're like channeling their power. Meanwhile, Innocent Zero is just trying to take everyone down. He's like, you'll never defeat me. And Finn's like, yep, that's right. All we're going to do is capable of giving him a little bit of time. But Mash gave a coward like me a reason to go and change. He saved me time and time again, so now it's my time to save him. And he's about to be attacked by a bunch of those little clock hands. He changes it, swaps places with Innocent Zero. So Innocent Zero's like, and I have to dodge my own attack, you bitch. Dot fires off a Gatling gun and machine guns. We get a little bit from him of talking about like, you know what? I'm not like super crazy powerful like you, Mash. I'm not maybe the main character, but I'm going to put it all on the line like you so we can play board games together and hit up the shops. Yeah.
That's very sweet.
It's very sweet. He shouts out, let's graduate from Easton together. Activates his thirds, I believe, with the machine gun cross. Just starts firing. There's a big gravity spell, and Lance has like a little floating planet next to him. I don't know if that's one of his earrings that just like disconnected there, or if it's
it
just
does
floating.
Look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Have I not noticed he had a little planet earring this whole time? I'm dumb. I'm very dumb. But Lance is like, it's not over. He's preparing for another attack. He's like, one will you act as a decoy while another holds me down, and then someone else moves into attack. A decent, albeit patchwork formation. And then they just like, boom. Wait a minute. Boom. And the gravity just keeps increasing. Lance gives his little speech now about like, Mash, if you and I had ever met, maybe saving my sister wouldn't be taking so long, but I also would not be able to face her with my head held high. It has been an honor to know you. And he fucking goes like ninth tail chakra, fucking like spirit energy all over the place. And I'm like, what? He has this much power with all of these injuries? Is he truly a mere first year? He does this big gravity attack, basically a barrage of just things continuously impacting on top of Innocent Zero.
Get in the ground, go down, go downward, go in your hole.
Pretty much. Just smashing him further and further down. We see Rain pass out after giving his power, and Ryu's like, he's given all he has, but we've increased his Mash's chance of getting back to full strength. And now I too have reached my limit. And we end the chapter as both of them have fallen. They're like, it's up to you now, Mash. This is presumably actively the last holdout, unless like 4 more characters show up. Like in my mind, I'm like, Margaret could still show up. Maybe Capriccio Salad or whatever his name, Cappuccino, whatever his name is. Maybe he shows up a little bit.
Or like the My Hero Academia characters who haven't shown up for that fight started showing up for this one.
Yeah, the reporters show up here. I'm like, okay.
All right. Hey, look, it's those 2 guys that were kind of angry at Class 1A, and then they started dancing at the end. They're here now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's go over to the Elusive Samurai, Chapter 105, Ruler 1335. It's a big battle now between the Ashikaga Cavalry, headed by Bolt Head Dude from the Imagawa clan. You know, Imagawa had the horse thing. He wears a bull mask instead. And they're like, oh, man, that guy's horse is wearing armor. He's a strong horse.
He paid for the DLC, Nick.
Yeah, fucking asshole showing off his fucking... I spent $20 on this thing that'll be obsolete in a patch. So Fubuki immediately realizes, this guy must be from the Imagawa clan. And everyone's really worried because, like, okay, there's a lot of really heavily armored warriors here. They could tear our lines to pieces. But Fubuki says, it's all right. I got this. I've prepared for this. And a bunch of rafts from upstream come blasting in, attacking the mounted warriors. And they start attacking them. And they're like, all right, we've weakened their flanks, which leaves the leader exposed. And Ayako and Kojiro just fly down on top of him, smashing their weapons down into his spear. And they're like, this guy's not scary. He's not a super great horseman. He's not crazy about horses. He doesn't inspire fear. He's nothing. And he just Fubuki hits him in the shoulder with an arrow. Ayako slashes apart his weapon with her new cool sharp club thing and also slashes through his mask and he falls to the ground spraying blood everywhere.
In my mind, I was like, it's going to be tough to justify him getting up for this. That's the neat thing. They don't.
He's dead.
These children just murdered that man.
It's like, oh man, look at this. Imagawa's brother, he's going to take revenge. Oh, he's dead now.
Never mind. All he did, I think, was successfully kill a child. And I think fucked up that one general.
Yeah, they've got, like, nothing to say about him at all whatsoever. Fubuki just comments on the fact that he shot an arrow at the guy by saying, Lord Tokiyuki, I have not taught you archery skills because none surpass Sadamune's, and you should always learn from the best, even if they are your foe. It was like, oh, that's a neat little moment. We just murdered that man. His face is in 2 pieces.
Which is honestly very nice considering he was slammed across the head with, like, essentially like a bladed anvil.
Right.
Like, that's, I'm glad for you. You can still have an open casket. I would not. But you still can.
You can, technically.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna be like, the stitches down the face, not a great look. You could have put like a blanket over his head.
All the formaldehyde is bubbling up through it. The stitches were not done very well.
Oh, we really messed this one up, guys.
So yeah, this is just kind of about showing off, hey, the Elusive Warriors have fucking improved and are really goddamn powerful now. They kicked this guy's ass. And everyone's like, hey, they're unprepared to defend because they were attacking us, so let's counterattack. They're not going to have a strong defense at this point. And Hojos fight back after suffering those losses of people who we didn't really get to know very well, and are driving back the Ashikaga forces. One of them shouts out to Takauji, saying, you've got to hide because the enemy is nearing our main force. And a whole bunch of people are staring him down as he looks on towards the approaching army in shock and perhaps fear. And so we get this narration about Takauji, which is, those who seek to conquer exhibit various characteristics. Some enforce their own will. Some make use of others. Some withstand external challenges. Ashikaga Takauji had a warm personality that betrayed no ambition, and yet he rebelled twice. He treated others mercifully, only to later abandon them. He yearned to retire, yet could not resist being the center of activity. And Takauji freaks the fuck out, takes out a knife and goes, oh no, my generals are dying, it's no use, we're going to lose, maybe I should commit suicide. Yeah, that's it, that's what I'll do. And he stabs himself through the neck. And it was like, we were gonna kill that. Oh
no.
Oh wow, okay.
Wow, this made it easy.
That's crazy. And then Moro now very calmly approaches him, unwinding a bandage, because, as the narration continues, despite his resolve, he could not kill himself even though he tried. He acted recklessly, but achieved results that appeared calculated. On the brink of defeat, he achieved stunning victory. And Moro now, as he's getting ready to patch the wound, is approaching, and Takauji just says, well, if I can't die, I might as well fight. And he is immediately calm and ready to do battle, and everyone's like, what the fuck is this guy?
There really has been this character to a T where you're just like, I'm sorry, what is happening? What? He's a demon or something?
as he is now described as so unpredictable that he was considered the most incomprehensible in all rulers in Japanese history. And yeah, a guy who's like, maybe I should kill myself, stabs himself, misses his throat, decides, oh, I guess I better keep fighting then.
Never mind, I got
crazy.
this.
That's kind of crazy. So,
He's got a little bit of an oddball streak to him.
yeah, so that's the chapter. A weird chapter, but a good way to kind of reiterate, oh, right, Takauji's just weird, and that makes him dangerous. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's effective.
Yeah, very good stuff. Nick, let's wrap this up. We just got One Piece left.
Yeah, so we do. It's chapter 1080 of One Piece, The Hero of Legend. So we begin with Captain Kobe escaping. So good job holding him prisoner, Blackbeard's crew. Immediately, a bounty is posted, but it's a Blackbeard bounty, so it's not with a berry reward. Instead, that he's given a star rating. So he's a 5-star bounty, which is equivalent to like 500 million berries, which seems a little bit low. But I guess,
I was gonna say.
I guess Blackbeard's just way too lazy to bother with like assigning full-on reward figures.
I would love it if it was just cheap. It was just like, oh, that's right. That is true. It's the Cross Guild that do the bounties, which is like Buggy's group, not Blackbeard.
Oh, that's true. Right.
But I would super love if they were just cheap and they're like, I know he's like one of the strongest in their entire group, and he's so young and has nowhere to go but up. Like, if you kill him, we'll give you like $100.
Yeah, all right, fine. Like $400. Like, pulling my leg here.
All right. $50 per star. That's less than $400. Oh, come on!
Are you gonna nickel and dime me here? Okay. Well, how about nothing? How about nothing? You just kill him.
That's not an influence for me to kill him at all. Okay, fine. I didn't want to do this, but if you kill Kobe, I'll be your best friend.
I was going to say, it has to be, I'll be your friend. Which, I'm not going to lie, if that was the reward, it was like, Buggy will be my friend. I'm like, all right, Kobe.
Now you're talking.
That shot of the dude crying, holding up the gun. I'm so sorry, Kobe.
Buggy said he would be my friend.
You understand, right? Just look at the flowers. Look at the flowers.
I didn't have a choice.
Look at the flowers, Kobe. Look at the flowers.
Oh, man. So, Kobe is on the run. He has just escaped from prison, so he's still got a freaking ball and chain attached to him. He's like, God damn it, I've got to get out of here. What a hero.
Mm-hmm.
He also is talking to someone. I don't know who he's talking to. He's with some other people that I guess he's also escaping with, but I don't recognize any of them. So I guess he let a jailbreak.
Yeah, he let like a bunch of slaves out, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they say like, hey, you could have escaped on your own, but you also saved us too. And Kobe is being incredibly selfless. He's saying, look, I'll be a distraction, I'll be a decoy, so that they'll chase after me instead of you guys, and you guys will get to safety. We are then given sorry. So we're given introductions for Shiryu of the Rain, who is an invisible man. He's eating the clear fruit.
We know we have known about that. He had the invisible fruit for a bit, or had a bit ago revealed it.
Right, and then there's Avalo Pizarro, the corrupt king, who has eaten the Isle fruit and is an island man. So he's the island that they're on.
Yeah, there's the scene of like the skull that's talking and is like, somebody's moving on my left back. And I was like so confused for a little bit until I was like, oh, it's Pizarro. He could just take shape of everything. Basically, he got like the stronger version of Pika's fruit, which is a thing they've established now. There's just strictly better devil fruits that can exist, which really has to suck when you're like, if you're Pika, you're like, what the fuck? I can only turn, this guy gets the whole goddamn island? Like, what is this?
Yep, you should have been careful about what devil fruits you ate.
Yeah.
You should have min-maxed. Come on, man.
Sucks to suck, nerd.
We are also introduced to the heavy drinker, Vasco Shot, who is a booze man. Man, he lucked out with that one because of the name like that. Like, what can you do?
He's just like, well, I already drink as it is, so this all worked out.
And then there is San Juan Wolf, who ate the huge fruit, so he's just big. So
well, it's notable he is already a giant who then ate the gigantic big fruit. So that's why that's why this character is basically like Joe at times. Like he's fucking humongous.
So they're basically just like, hey, what are we gonna do? And what are we gonna do about the prisoners? Vasco Shot proposes that they just burn the entire town down. And of course Pizarro is like, no, Teach will be furious at us. Don't do that. And then they're also like, and we better not leave this to Wolf either. And he's a Snorlax in it. He's snoring, and he is so huge that the snot bubbles that fly up out of his nose, Vasco's Shot is just floating away on one of them.
Aww,
so,
good for him.
Somebody spots Kobe, who is forced to run while carrying his ball and chain under his arms. And
I think at this point we know all the devil fruits of Blackbeard's crew. Then, right?
I guess we do.
I'm trying to remember if we learned what Burgess's fruit was, and I feel like we did.
Yeah, he got some sort of like power thing, didn't he?
I'm trying to remember because he's one. Did he just get like a fruit that makes him stronger or something?
Yeah, I think he did.
Stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. We know. I think the only person we don't know is Lafayette, who has some kind of like flight fruit or something like that. But other than that, yeah, I think we know everybody's now.
So as he runs, Kobe remembers the conversation that he had with Blackbeard while he was captured. And Blackbeard was just like, man, I'm great!
I do love it.
Oh, man, I gotta turn Pirate Island into its own country. I'm gonna be a king, Blackbeard Kingdom, yeah! And Kobe's like, that'll never work, a country of criminals. And Blackbeard's like, don't insult other people's dreams. How rude!
Yeah, that's his whole thing. He's like evil Luffy. Sick fruit. I was like, did we learn Doc Q's? And then I was like, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
He turns people into girls for a hot moment and then infects them.
And Blackbeard says, hey, I'm going to use your life as a bargaining chip. The government and Navy give in to if the government and Navy give in to terrorist acts, then yeah, that'd be nice. And Kobe's like, that's not going to work. I'm a member of SWORD. And Blackbeard's like, what the fuck does that mean? And Aokiji is there, and he says, yeah, this isn't going to work. You should give up on trying to make a deal on him, Teach. And because what it means is he's Navy, but not Navy. He's turned in his Marine code. SWORD are sailors who have already submitted their resignations. They can choose to fight the Four Emperors if they want without needing permission from above. They can ignore any and all orders they choose. They are wild card commandos. They're cops they're on the edge of the law that don't need a badge. And as a result of that, the Navy can not be held responsible for their actions, essentially, which is very convenient.
I was going to say, this is like a very convenient wing of the military, essentially, where they're like, we could just say that they were SWORD and fuck them.
Yep. But that also means that they're not going to value Kobe's life at all. It's like, nope, he was part of SWORD. We have no need to actually go after him and try and save him. We are not bound to that. So Blackbeard's like, I'm not changing plans. I'm gonna just keep on going with this as far as I can because I don't care if you're part of SWORD. Like, you're still a very valuable asset to the Navy. You're a hero far and wide. So yeah, we'll see just what the world's willing to do in order to save your fucking ass. And the damage that it'll do to the government will be deep. So we're going to keep him in chains. So Kobe's a running while people are chasing after him. He set free someone or was set free by
Perona.
Perona
somehow saved him.
Got here
specifically so that he would save Moria.
Yes.
who is being held here, which was like, holy shit, I knew we'd eventually get to like the Moria resolution, but that has been like a deep cut mystery of like whatever happened to Gecko Moria.
Well, Blackbeard was being an asshole to him. Well, like he is to everyone.
I'd like for the first thing Proto does when she meets up Moria, and he's just like, "Oh, my crew came to save me." He's like, "Actually, I'm the only one. Everyone else kind of sucked, and I think Absalom's dead." So, and he's like, "You know what? They did kind of suck. You were, I guess, the only cool one."
Look, I just need someone to invite to my wedding with Mihawk. You're getting married to Mihawk? Well, not yet. I haven't talked to him about it.
He doesn't know, but...
So a whole bunch of chaos is happening. Also, the Navy has arrived. Really, really powerful Navy. And we get to see some fighting happening. And there's a tough guy Marine who gets his fucking head chopped off. But he's fine, because he's a guy Logia, so he's fine.
Well, he doesn't have a Logia. He is constructed by a person who has a Logia.
Okay.
I believe that's the context, because it's the Glorp Glorp guy we see like in the next thing.
Right,
I believe.
He just kind of comes back.
Yeah. He's made a bunch of golem soldiers, essentially.
So the first super powerful Navy person that we see that has arrived on the scene is Kujaku. Yes?
Yes, that is the first new one. A character who they reveal is the granddaughter of Suru, who's a big character. But she is a dominatrix character because she can make anything into a whip. And I'm like, we already had a Marine dominatrix lady. Her name was Hina the Cage. I don't know why we needed two, but we're here.
Yep. She has a sword, but the sword is a whip.
Yes.
So it's like, it looks kind of neat. And she says, "I'll whip you into shape," which is like, oh, come on. That's your opening whip pun? Really? Don't think that late. Some more pirates try and open fire on her, but their bullets just go poof, and flowers appear. They're like, what happened? Why are there flowers here? And another member of the sword is here. It's Hibari, who is a sniper. And she is like, I shot them with flower rounds, so they can't use their weapons.
This was the thing that I believe they established Vegapunk made that basically turns gunpowder into flowers. So I don't think it's a devil fruit or anything like that. The other two characters have devil fruits, but they revealed what they did. So I'm assuming she just has like science or stuff.
And then we meet our Glorp Glorp man, Prince Groose, who has a cap that has too much of a brim. That's too long.
A lot of things about this guy are unnervingly proportioned. His feet, gigantic. Like Sora from Kingdom Hearts is like, this is a little extreme. Like, yeah, pull it together, champ.
So yeah, he's got a bunch of golems that he has summoned, and now, here's the big thing. A ship comes flying up out of the ocean and into the sky, and everyone goes, wait, why is a battleship up there in the sky crashing towards us? Who's on board? Everyone run. We can't. There's too much of a crowd in the square. We can't move. Wait, look at the prow. No, I thought he retired. It's the hero of legend, Vice Admiral Garp! And Garp's just standing on the prow of the ship, just holding up his fist and laughing. So a bunch of Blackbeard's pirates like, shit, run for your lives. We got to get out of here. But they're all trapped in the town square, and Garp comes flying off of his ship and says, do you have any idea who you've taken prisoner? Kobe is the future of the Navy, and what's more, he's my protege. And he just blows up everything.
He just fucking explodes it all with a punch. My god, man, what a fucking reintroduction of Garp.
Why did we launch the entire ship into the air? Ah!
Because I can punch from above, and it'd be stronger. This is a wild chapter full of so much, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun getting to see these characters and like give little teases for what's gonna come. I really like just the inventiveness of the fool and Big Skull and just Pizarro talking through it. It's just like, hey, what's going on over there? Like, I don't know why. That's very funny to me. I love the little glimpses of Blackbeard, who I always enjoy seeing look silly. And he's just like, wait, oh, my plan won't work now. Like, I don't know why. I just find Blackbeard very charming because he can hit both of those notes so well. There's fun little details, a little bit about Perona showing up, and the tease of like Moria actually getting involved in things. I don't care much for the new Marines they introduced. Like, I'm sure there's like a level of like basicness. I'm like, oh, Hibari's got like a cute design. I'm also like, I'm not going to remember her. I am not going to remember her. I'm telling you now, I might remember Glorp Glorp, which is not his name, but Glorp Glorp is his fruit. So I might just remember Glorp Glorp. But I'm not going to remember these other characters. But then, yeah, holy shit, that big fight against, or the big scene with Garp is just so cool. Like, they launch a ship into the air, he shows up, and he's like, I'm going to punch everything with a move called Galaxy Impact. It's very cool.
It's very, like, super powerful move from Pokemon feeling.
Yeah. It's like a fighting game where, like, you used your special against a character and you dropped, like, 6 nukes on them.
So you get the cinematic scene that plays during it. Like this, I swear to God, there was, I remember, I saw earlier this week, like I think it was the developers of like Fighters talked about like, oh, what would it be like, to make like a One Piece fighting game? And I swear to God, if like something like that ever happens, if they don't make one of Garp's special moves a cinematic thing where he launches a ship in the air and then does galactic impact while jumping off of it, then what are we even doing here?
What's the point, guys? Let's go home. Yeah, this is such a cool moment, such a cool scene. Really, really good chapter. I'm back on board, Nick. I'm back on board with One Piece. Until next week, we go back to Egghead Island. And I'm like, okay.
I don't think that there was a bad chapter this week. No. I think that the one that maybe came closest was the Elusive Samurai, just because we've kind of been down on it for a little while. But even then, the villain stabbed himself in the neck, didn't die, and was like, oh, I guess I'll keep fighting then. So, like, I can't call that a bad chapter. This is going to be really hard for me, but I'm going to need to ask you, Quinn, what was your favorite chapter this week? Who was your MVP?
It's tough. It's a fight between Blue Box and One Piece for me, where like Blue Box is like this extraordinarily cute scene between two characters and like feels like a pushing forward of that relationship in some degree, which is pretty impactful. It happens during Christmas, very like romantic, sweet, iconic, perfect. One Piece was just fun. Like it was just a really, really fun chapters all over the place. I guess picking it like in my mind is like which one do I enjoy more, and I'll admit I think I enjoyed One Piece more just because I'm a sucker for like those teases of things, and also like moving forward on things. Like as I said, we know pretty much every member of Blackbeard's crew's powers now. Although I think there might be a member we still don't know about yet. Because there's the 10 Titanic captains, which I don't believe include Blackbeard himself. So I think there's one more member of that group, which adds up too if everyone from, the Straw Hats is going to have a fight or whatever.
Right.
Regardless, I'm giving it to One Piece. I think it was a really, really fun chapter with a lot of exciting things. But character of the week is so freaking hard.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because I want to give it to Garp. I want to give it to Chinatsu. I want to give it to Toshusai. I want to give it to like Denji. I don't know. There's so many. Yeah. I think I'm going to say Garp though, because it was a really, really fun reintroduction.
Yeah. We've got so many good choices for both of these. I'm going to say that my chapter of the week is Blue Box, but like I said, there was not a bad chapter this week. There is something good that I can say about everything that we read, that we discussed on this episode. Character of the week, there is like at least one good character in every chapter this week. You've got, I thought I liked Nico this chapter. I thought the Denji was hilarious. I did really quite enjoy the reintroduction that we got, kind of set the stage again for Akane-banashi. Toshusai had her great big rival moment. And hey, Tenmaku Cinema was a pretty good, damn good and effective introduction to our three main characters that are going to be here for this. And hey, Takagi had a good moment.
Yes.
Garp just flew off of a ship that was flying in the air and blew everything up. And I know that is literally all he did, but he launched his ship into the air and laughed while posing and then blew everything up, and I have to give it to him for that. So Garp is my character of the week, but many, many, many honorable mentions, I have to say.
Yeah. The audience, by the way, it was clear that there was a lot of things going on. I feel like until like just a moment ago, there was a tie for series of the week, but I guess not. Blue Box just won series of the week, but there is a tie for character of the week between Garp and Denji.
Yeah, Denji, who decided that he wanted corn dogs from France.
Yeah, and I am not a corn dog. Man, I wish I want to just nominate that panel for something. like an Emmy. I don't know why, but I'm like, give this an award.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us for Weekly Manga Recap. We will be back next week to discuss some more manga. We are currently working our way through. Is it Fire Punch or Fire Fist? I forget literally every chapter I read.
Fire Punch, I believe.
Punch. But in the meantime, we will be just discussing our regular weekly series. And hey, there's going to be a bunch more like series beginning in the next couple of weeks. So there's going to be a lot for us to talk about, a lot of new stuff to get added into our rotation. And so look forward to that. We do the show here live on twitch.tv/ReloT Wednesday, starting at about 7:30 Eastern time. You can also follow us on social media. Check us out in the Discord server, which will be linked in the description, so you can join that. And we also send an alert through Discord whenever the show goes live. Also, our Discord server has many lovely, lovely people in it who we have a wonderful community there that we're very proud of. Bi-weekly game nights are held. There's discussions on the chapters as they come out week to week, a discussion of the current recommendation, and all sorts of other stuff. There is also a place that you can use to find the Google Doc, which is maintained by Ninja X3i, which keeps track of all sorts of helpful statistics associated with the show, including stuff that has been recommended previously, and also a list to make your own recommendation if you want us to cover another series in the future and discuss it in detail. We would also like to thank everyone who supports us on Weekly Manga Recap, Weekly Manga Recap's Patreon, which is patreon.com/Weekly Manga Recap. You can also listen to all episodes of the show on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com, on Spotify, on iTunes, generally anywhere podcasts can be listened to. And you can also check out the video version, which features title cards done by Steve Man, whose artwork you can check out under Steve Man Art, wherever boobs can be drawn on the internet. And it also features an opening sequence, which was done for us by Milo Jack Stillitz and Winslow Cheddar. That is all over at youtube.com/Weekly Manga Recap.
Hell yeah.
That is everything.
Thank you, everybody, for their work. I don't have anything, Nick. Thought I had something there, but it's gone. Drifted off. It's wandering. It's lost, Nick. We have to find it. We have to save it.
Did you just somehow go into Lost from nothing?
Did I? Was that a Lost reference? I don't even know anymore. Do I just make them unconsciously now?
Quinn, I don't know Lost references, so anything you say can possibly be a Lost reference as far as I'm concerned.
I kind of have the Toshusai issue that I made a promise of myself at some point. I'm like, I got to make at least 10 Lost references a day. So sometimes I just like, I go to people and I'm like, can I go touch that like priceless statue? To like, you can't do that. I'm like, don't tell me what I can't do. And then I'm like, cool. And I cross off one on my list and I leave. I don't know what that was about. And then sometimes I just walk around and I go, Walt! Walt! And I scream it for hours.
You are speaking to an audience that has no appreciation for this at all.
But Austin listens to this podcast. I don't know if he gets to this part of the podcast. He probably like hears us start recapping. He's like, I'm done. I'm Addy 500. He did want me to know, by the way, he was angry about something you said.
What did I do this time?
What did you say? You shit on something he enjoyed.
Okay.
You
cool.
were like, I gotta look for this. You said something. Oh, he said, tell Nick to put respect on Captain Toad's name. You shit on Captain Toad, I guess.
I don't really feel at all passionately about that, so that's fair.
You shit on Captain Toad, Nick, and Austin took umbrage with that. He loves the little toad people, because I feel like deep down Austin wants to be one of them.
Okay. And on the note of our friend Austin Yorsky wants to be a toad, good night, everybody.
Goodbye.